Cheers. Some of you might be familiar already with the work I did in 2014 and 15 on the plane of existence. The idea, you can see it and hear it in the word. The universe is the shape of the human eye, meaning that man, plant, animal, earth, water exist and make up what would be the iris, or the colored part, and it would be an electromagnetic wet cell environment. So with that being known, there are experiments you can look at, this being the Pompos-Schlanzen effect, which is the idea of looking at distance and seeing everything above a specific so-called elevation. And I'd like to first take you through this introductory video, and then I'm going to take you into...
So the Earth is flat, the surface is built on a foundation, which is flat. The same idea when you build a computer chip that you're using right now to watch this. It is started on a flat plane. It is created on a flat plane. It is then built on a flat plane. Okay? That's a fact. So then, to search for the line, I've told you before about your eyes. If you look out both your eyes, you see a picture, correct? Cover one eye. Look at one point. Cover both eyes, and now uncover the other eye. Are you looking at the same spot? No. It shifted slightly, didn't it? It shifted that little bit that confuses people into thinking that there's a curve. And so then you have people who decided, okay, if I can fool people, if I can tell them that they can only look so far, and then just the natural setup of the environment you live in doesn't ever really afford you the opportunity to look all that far. So then you just assume that what they told you is correct. So what I'm going to do is show you a couple things and to explain to you that because you stopped seeing from your vantage point something, or it ended, it doesn't mean that it dropped off and it stopped existing. As you can see here, all those mountains in the background are still there, correct? Right there on the level. I'll be bringing it into a road which is about, a little less than half a mile away. I'm going to zoom in and stop when the car comes by. Okay? And now you can see that the car is level. The reason you can't see the bottom of the tires is because of all that noise and whatnot. That noise is going to be the separation between your vision, between your two eyes. And that separation I've shown you before on how to identify that by this image. As you recall, the two creating the one, then the gap created between the two, forming your line or horizon line, and then that of course creating what looks like the reversed opposite mirrored fish into each other. That is the fish eye lens idea. Okay? So what I was looking for was something that I would go ahead and put out and explain to you and show you the fact and proof, the final proof that anyone needs to see that we do exist on a plane. And that once you understand that, all the other lies, the space hoax stories, the revolving universes, all that's got to go. Every bit of it's got to go. Alright? You know that car didn't just go over the edge, okay, and then down the slope of the earth. Just like these trucks and cars don't disappear off into over the curve of the earth, do they? Now let me explain to you what you're seeing. You're seeing a camera at the ground level of the top of this hump in the distance, and then you're going to see cars dropping as they go over the other side, depending on how quick or slow they go. Like the truck's going to look like it goes over ever so slowly, and then this black car is going to go up and over quite quickly. Do you see the bit of a dip that they go through right here at the beginning? Do you see where this red car is right now? It looks like an exaggerated dip. That dip is not there. That is that optical illusion I'm telling you about. That is that separation line. Now, with that known, if you recall my CERN experiment, you saw when the ball took off that before it finished, you know, and that means reaching its top speed. It dipped and then came back up. It created a bow, like a bow arc. Now that bow arc's interesting in that it's shown here by that first dip you see. Now, if you noticed what you're looking at in the background, you're looking at the area of California between the one set of mountains and another set of mountains, and the area in between would be called the Central Valley. Okay. Now, what you've probably noticed is that the cars are dropping into what looks like a hole, right? Well, the city they're going into, of Tracy, is not even shown on that picture that you're looking at right now. Now look right in the middle. Look at that telephone pole. Look where it sits on the ground. Do you see that that's the mirage line that goes from there all the way to the back? And you see right in the middle, you see two light poles that are sticking up that almost like make T's, and you can see the separation line right there. That's a mirage line. And now what you're looking at in the background is the entire Central Valley of California on this line, this level line. Anything above my level, which is about 300 feet, will show up above that mirage line. Anything below will be swallowed up and disappeared. Okay, so then I went across the entire Central Valley with that eyesight that you saw out to the distance. Here is about 40 miles. All the way across, you have basically a flat plain, flat surface area. It's mostly farmland. And with that idea, I'm going to look across and show you that everything that comes into your view from point A to point B will be visible as long as it's above a certain altitude. And then everything comes into this view that almost as if you're looking through a shoebox diorama type setup. And it will be a pop-up book feeling that you get to this entire stretch of 40 miles brought to you from one angle. And the angle is going to be different than you're used to, because it's not going to be the heightened angle of deceit. They always like to deceive you from heights. You don't need to go up that high to see things. Now, all these things that stick up higher than others, and the things that stick are below the others, some will blend in, some will blend out, and it will create a perfect harmony and a perfect picture of stacked activity. Basically, you'll see roadways and activity and trucks on top of trucks and roads on top of roads, all on this flat plane. So let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and build it up just simply by looking at it at the right angle. All right, and here's that picture. To make sure that you are clear on this, this precludes the idea of concave or convex for the foundation. That's a fact. Do not let any of these charlatans fool you. You're looking at an illusion of a dip. Do you see that in the picture I drew? That's a flat surface, but if you look at it, you can see that it dips. That's an illusion. That's what your eye creates. Remember that distance I told you between the two? Okay, so now you saw that created the horizon line, which was that reflective C that you saw. That then flipped mirrored opposite CC, the 33, creating the dual idea. All right. Look into the distance. You can see with your own eyes that everything that's above that level I was at, which was just about 300 feet, has now come into view, and you are able to see it quite clearly, aren't you? As far as you want to see it, and that the start of the hill, that it goes up to about 500 to 600 feet, depending on if you're looking all the way to the left. All right. So that can give you an idea of exactly how far you're looking. If that range had been another 100 miles, east, I would see that much farther. And if it was 100 miles farther, I'd see that much farther. You're only blocked by things that rise into your vision, and you're not able to see, of course, through them. So then it stops right there. But at least now that you've seen that, with this picture that you're being shown, look at just if you haven't really looked at what I'm showing you, please look at it again. You have to understand what you're looking at here to understand the gravity of this, to use the word, right? Understand what you're looking at, please. You're living on a flat plane, otherwise what I just did would not be possible. Look at this. Stacked on top of stacked. That's flat. Brought into life over the reflection of an imaginary sea. You do see that now, right? No more. No more at all. One word of contention, you're gone, period. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to miss you, period. I don't even know you. Alright, so say something stupid and you're gone. Do not see what I've shown you and you're gone. Continue following liars, you're gone. Alright? You'll have nothing to do with me and I don't care. Alright, I'm done with it. So many of you people don't do anything. You are consumers. You are consumers. You're shown the truth and you mock it. The truth is the truth if no one believes it. Now, to get out of this lie, Jesus Christ gives you the comforter, gives you that way out, man. Bye. Okay, so if you still believe in the ever-expanding universe, get out. If you still think the Earth, after seeing what I just showed you, is a ball, get out. If you think it's convex, concave, get out. Last time I tell you. Once you start something off the flat, it becomes a curve, and it's going to meet on the other side at some point. So then, therefore, what can you do? You see that you live on a plane, a flat. You understand that you have lights above you that go around you through gates. These are electrical gates, not like garden gates. Electrical gates which move the sunlight, the moonlight, the star lights, the planets, which are just lights, images, moving images. They're moved through gates. It's electrical, please understand that. Magnetic power. North creates a square in the center. North-south creates a circle in the center. Both creating then waves around them. Taking into account all the effects you speak about. Every single time you see something that says, man, that's it, that's the final proof, you're going to tell people that they need to go somewhere off into the distance, some land far, far away to get the truth, when it's that statement that you just made is untrue. You can do it anywhere you want to. If you're looking for the truth, you will find it. If you're not looking for the truth, you'll make it up and you'll listen to other people. So, yeah, I'm dealing with the lowest common denominator. It's just not worth it. A lot of people that are contending with me are doing it, still wearing their paper hats from work. So what have you ever done? What have you ever proven? I think you'll find out that all you've ever done and proven to be is a pain in the ass to people that you've been looking down your nose at because somehow you think that you know something, and you don't know anything. You don't know anything that's real.
In this next video, I'm going to simply just show you a model of the eyeball, of the human eyeball. This idea, when I put it out, was taken by some characters out there, Enter the Stars and some other different characters who will invert the truth of this matter and will present to you, for their own reasons, false ideas and false models. Therefore, with going back to the idea of what, if you look in the mirror and you see your eyeball, what then and how does that reflect what is the universe? Or God said, let there be light, and there was light. The idea of creation through the Word, and the Word being the Lord Jesus Christ, who is in fact God. Cheers.
Now, I had noticed that there were some videos going around talking about the idea of a flat earth, and I wanted to show you how, as I see it through observation, through actual what's called work, how this system operates. And I hope that this display will help you. So I've put these words here that all mean something to everyone, and I'm going to place them within this diagram. To explain this diagram, I'll move forward. The blue, or which blue is gold, gold is blue. The sun, red, or what this kind of a, almost like a teal color almost, as the opposite being red. This influence over the sphere being the earth, okay? This round earth right here, the lower earth, right? You see that, the lower earth? Above the lower earth you have this belt, and within this belt is what I call where the celestial objects are placed. And these are ideas, i.e. the stars are there for decoration. They're not out in deep space. There is no deep space. I'll get to that. Okay? The moon and the sun, moon, move in their respective orbits around a center point. The blue reflecting the around time. If you rotate this circle, that will indicate the lit path. Okay, this would be the unlit path at the time that this curve is there. This would be counteracted with the moon influence, right, of light, being that these are both just lights, merely lights, greater, lesser. Okay, so let's label those at least. So we can label the sun. I'll put it right there. Just that's it. All right. We can label the moon. We'll put it right there. Okay. This observation, I'm going to go ahead and say, I won't fill all this in, other than to show you that you'll find out in this arrangement through the so-called cycle, these will interact and change, and this will sometimes, the so-called moon influence will sometimes align with the sun, right? Does that make sense? So this thing would go in a cycle when this would be a fixed point. All right? That would account for eclipses and all that nonsense. That it's not what, there's no planet moving in front. All right? It's a light. So moving forward, you have space. Now space is merely the space between what I just described. This would be the firmament and the ceiling. All right, here would be the ceiling right here. The ceiling. You're not getting out of that. There's no deep space. There are no planets. Anything that's shown to you as a planet would be projected to you in this arena. All right? Just made smaller to have you be given the illusion of distance. All right? So where's the actual earth, the dirt, the ocean, the air, the mountains, all that good stuff? Us. We're down in this area. That's us. That's the world. To the side, we're in just one part of it. You can't get to this edge just the way that this thing works. It's just not, you can't get out. You're not going to get there. Because it's just, there is no way you can get there. You're welcome to go try. Go ahead. Have fun. The sky, which is the sky, right? And then the weather. The weather sits in this band right here. See, there'd be like, these would be the puffy clouds and whatnot in the back. You can see them kind of puffing and they move around. All right. And then if you look at the idea of that the earth is suspended on nothing, and then you do an inverse color image, you will see that this is in fact supported on nothing. This goes down into the depths, right? Into the deep. Okay? So this is merely just the eyeball, naturally. The human eyeball just turned on its side that I wanted to show you, which is, it's the same thing as what I just showed you. That's the human eyeball. I turned it on its side. This is a human eyeball. I turned it on its side because this is what creation is. It is in the eye, right? It is in the eye of the beholder. So anyways, you can get out of the artificial world, all right? Out of the artificial world, you'll still be here on Earth in this area, but you just won't be influenced by these false gods. They have nothing to do with you, right? Trust Jesus Christ to get you out, and then you're out. Have a great day.
This next video is simply stating and showing you how to observe what is called gravity, and what gravity is and what it is not. Therefore, just take a look at this simple experiment, and like with all these other experiments, these are all different tests that you can complete yourself. All right? Cheers.
So what is gravity in this place, and what is gravity? It is magnetism. It is the north-south polarity. It is you standing, you being the center of the magnetic attraction, and then you standing against, I should say, you would be the positive 90-degree angle standing up against a negative 90-degree angle, and then of course everything in between would be of course causing a balance, because you would be having a downward force upon you anytime you lean forward or backwards. Okay, it's going to try and push you over. When you throw a ball on the plane or anything else, it's going to throw in an arc and then land. If it doesn't roll, it's going to stop, because that's the way this place is. This also takes care of your lighter than air gases being at the top. Okay, so that is what gravity is. Simply, it's a force that is opposite of your force standing up. Otherwise you would be floating. Alright, that's it. Now moving forward, what does this then mean? How can you take the idea of convex and concave and just be done with them for once and for all? One, they are a mirrored opposite of the same lie. A convex is a concave just in reverse. Okay, get that through your head. I've showed you before that is a light-filled system. It is a perpetual motion machine. I'll go ahead and drop again for you this ball. Okay, I will drop this ball, and you will see then that this creates a perpetual motion machine. You will also see that on the pillars or the temples, you will see the constant tone of what I call the world. So therefore you understand this now. There is no mystery about what gravity is. You do understand that the moon, the sun, the stars are lights. moving across planes. Okay? Thank you. Okay, with this example, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Let me move this out of the way for just a minute. That if you take the idea of a round, that includes the idea of concave and convex. Okay? This whole idea, when turned into a ball, a globe, you know, shaped in any odd way you want, but still a ball, this makes no sense. What this is this is two stories that have the same meaning and has the same result. If you saw my last video with the perpetual motion machine, this is a simpler example of the idea of the round earth, concave, convex, I don't care which way you say it is, it's still the same idea. It's the snake eating its tail, it's the loop. Please keep an eye on either side as the influence of those in contact with this guy, this demon, will then go ahead into a mirrored thought pattern. And that thought pattern is going to look a lot like the one-sided plane, the trifold plane paper, if you recall that one video I made, the time machine. Alright, ready, go. Okay, so we've started the perpetual motion machine. Either way, you've gone into the perpetual motion, which will then go fast, slow, fast, slow, fast. See how it has a rhythm to it? Okay? Notice here you have the mirrored opposites. If I move this side of... Hold on. Get that out of there. If I move this side here, drop it, watch the reaction on the other side. Do you see that? It's a mirrored reaction. Okay? That's the loop system that is the world. That whether they're telling you it's like a ball or you're inside the ball, all of those people are lying to you. Every one of them. That's just the way that is. Gravity is nothing more than the force 90 degrees down holding these squares down while moving the circle at a tone, which will go on and on and on and on. And within that tone is activity, right? So you go all the way up on the high end. This would be your 9, 1, 11 kind of code on the high peaks. See how it comes into the 11 and the 9? So that's the idea of those peaks having to go ahead and then repower the machine. Do you see that the 911 creates the peak of the power? Okay, so just remember then that gravity is nothing more than 90 degrees holding you straight down to the flat plane. Okay? That's it. That's how that works. Alright, that's it. Part 3 coming soon. Oh, by the way, get out of this system, put your faith in Jesus Christ. You're given the Comforter and the truth, and you're shown all of this. You're shown the truth and how things really are.
This last video in the series is going to be talking about what is the moon projection. The idea of the sun, moon, the stars are in fact lights in the sky, not destinations. That the light realm dealing with lighter than air gases. It's also a mirror of the semiconductor process. How is a semiconductor produced on terra firma, the idea of Earth, and then how then is that mirrored above, and then what is that light realm above, and how can it be seen? And you can observe through this video. I've taken photographs of the actual moon projection, which anyone can do. You can also find, if you're paying attention and look for, you will find the projector, or what is projecting. And each so-called light in the sky does have its own projection source, and they would be otherwise known as nodes, right? Or
Okay, with this video I'd like to help you understand what is the moonlight, and that in fact the moon, the sun, the stars are in fact lights. The moon itself is at a height of 32.234 miles high. That's just over 170,000 feet. Now let me explain to you, at that altitude, that height above the flat plane of Earth, what you call Earth, the dirt, you run into a different atmosphere or concentration of gases. You run into what are called lighter than air gases, and one in particular, neon. Neon allows, as you know, things to glow. All right. So this is just pictures of the moon light coming into view, and as you can tell, it's quite bright. And what I'm going to do is take with the next few photos and just blend them in while I tell you some things, is just take a long exposure shot, which is just allowing as much light into the camera as it can take, and then that's going to highlight the sky for you and show you that in fact the illusion, the blue illusion, can also then be created at night, depending on how long you want to leave your shutter open. Okay. So then, with that in mind, you have this idea of the moonlight, and you can see this. If you notice these images, you're going to see a splashing on the side of colors, red and blue, making a purplish. All right, it's going to be off to the side, and what that is that's going to be the source of this projection. Now, each one of these, the sun included, has a source of projection. This one in particular is I've taken a photograph of, and I'm going to show you that as soon as I explain a little bit more of the mechanics of this to you. So then you have a plane, and planes are nothing more than atmosphere changes precisely, allowing and disallowing combustion, let's say at 172,000 feet, where then the O2 is at 0. So then combustion is just out the window. So then you look at this idea, and you have to understand, why is then this thing being projected sometimes to where it looks like you can see clouds behind it? And that is because you're seeing clouds behind it that are farther down the plane. For example, if you see this rising in the state of Arizona, which is just on a map, a close distance to the state of California, where I am in particular, someone will see this rise at this level in Arizona and not see it yet in California. It will not be visible in the sky. That then proves to you that this is a lot closer to the ground than you've been told. And it's also a projected light. As you can see here, look to the right side, you see that almost trumpet piece or flute opening. That is then from the projector, all right? And then that is at a higher plane projecting that, what you see as the so-called moon, all right? Now what I want to do is just go ahead and blend in a few shots and show you this at night, and show you that you can then highlight clouds, brighten it up, allow more light in, and see more of the nighttime canopy, what I call it, the action behind the action, if you were to zoom into these photos. What's projecting that then to you is this. This is called Satellite Dave J, being that nobody else wanted to own it. Nobody else even wants to tell me that they see it. All right? And there is one person who has a video up that has helped out and has shown people that this is in fact real. All right? You can see it, and as long as you know what you're looking at, and I'm trying to show you here what you're looking at, you will then see this image, which is what you see as the moon, and you will see the projector off to, if it's going to be, if you're in the United States, let's say, it'll be to your right and below. If you're down, if you're farther below what's called the equator, and I'll get to that in a minute, you will see it on your other side, your left. Okay. So then, if you then now know that, what I'm going to do is then tell you exactly what's going on here. This is a projection into space, and space being atmosphere above your head.
All right. And now, why do you see it in a different orientation if you were in, let's say, Australia or something that's said to be below the equator? Well, that is because the projection is at the level of the equator. All right. Does that make sense? Just at the higher plane, just at 32.234 miles higher. All right. And then it rotates on its course. All right. So then at that equator, you're going to see what's called, with a projection image, you're going to see a rotation change, because it's going to be, think of the figure 8. All right. And then noticing that on these, every time you look at the so-called moon, you can only look at the one side with the so-called mountains. On the left side here in particular, looking from the so-called north. That you can zoom in on. The so-called the right side, you can never get a clear picture of, because it's just a static image. There's nothing there to focus on. Then when you go through what's called the equator, you'll have just a morphing, and then the next thing you know, the moon or the image or what's called the face then winds up on the other side. But that's only because you're farther down, or farther what's called south on the plane from what would be, and I use these in quotes, the terms, just so you understand, north. All right, because as soon as you leave what is called north, every other direction would be going then south, if you're looking at a long distance type calculation. So then, looking at this, you noticed that this is now, it's in your mind, you can get a handle on it. So you guys down in Australia, you can stop acting like you haven't been told. You're looking at an image in the sky. You're not looking at a rock in space. You need to get your head around that. You need to understand that you're looking around the backside of a projection. All you're doing is seeing the backside of a picture. Imagine holding up a picture drawn on the paper to a light, and you're looking at it from the backside. That's all this is. It's not a big mystery. All right. So then these images, the lights per se, this one is being the negative pole, giving out the night light, or the think the dark light, or the negative light, the cooling light, then is a polar opposite of the sun, which is giving the positive, the warmth, the dry, that idea. All right, so then that's how you get that symbology, and then that actual reality as well. All right, so you know that this is a polar system, so that you're dealing with polar opposites. All right, so then if I build the so-called 69 system, or what's called the 68, right? Because you're fallen into the 9 is the system, the 9 is the note fallen into. All right, so then if I add, taking a look at what's called like the yellow brick road idea, or the projection from the plumb or center line, that projection is what would then be your daylight at any given point across the flat earth. And then the opposite side would then be either twilight and or sunrise and or midnight. All right, and then of course going around the center, you'll notice then that below that it would have to be that the depth of what's called the earth would also then have to be a mirror of the ceiling. So then you're looking at something in the range of somewhere more than 32 miles, and somewhere less than 37, I'm guessing, maybe right at 37, being that the star plane is above the moon and sun plane. So then you have to take that into account. So if the moon and the sun plane are at 32 miles plus, which they are, then the star plane is a plane above that. My current estimation is by a few miles higher, possibly up to making it 37. And then you have the idea of what's called gravity, and gravity is nothing more than a force, the magnetic force, being that you're in a polar system, of a direct straight line down to the plane of 90 degrees. Straight down. That's what holds everything straight down. That's why you have to strain if you do anything but stand straight up and down. Standing straight up and down, it's very easy to do. If you slightly bend forward, you're going to want to fall forward. Do you understand? Because that minus 90 degrees is pulling you straight down. All right. So then if you take a look at this, this is going to be the idea of the confusion with these convex and concave people. They're both a lie of the same order. Please take a look. If you make concentric circles, you then color them, simply rotate it, and you're going to find out that it creates what looks like a concave plate, one that dips, but it doesn't. It's just an optical illusion. Then you reduce that down to fit within this, and I've shown you this, that this is the double X system, the 68 system, the fallen idea, the world within the two keys, the fallen notes. All right, now you understand how to view the world that you see. All right, the reality that you see, the lights that you see in the sky. Now that you know how far they are, you can get a better understanding. What you need to do is you need to take your telescope or binoculars, get up there, get them in focus, then lay it flat, look at the flat ground, get to where you can see it a good distance, and you will see at 32 miles you are resolved and focused. That's a fact, all right? So this explains that in brief, and I hope that this made some sense. If this didn't make sense, I have several videos. Please leave a question, because this takes care of all the liars, like the Stephen Christ liar, and all of those that give you the ball idea. It's two versions of the same thing. Don't fall for either. You live on a flat plane within a system, all right? That's it. All right, so then I know that there's a lot of antichrists out there currently who are trying to tell you one thing and maybe steer you away from the whole truth. This is nothing but a fact, okay? This is the way it is. You know, go out and verify it yourself. You'll find out it's true. Then after that, ask yourself what comes after that. All right? That's something you'll have to ask yourself, all right? So then, as I say, be free in Christ and free indeed. True living water, baby. All right, talk to you soon. Cheers.
Hello again. This is part 2 of the projector series. Okay, this is now a different projector that you see in the... right over here. Right here. This projector right here. Somewhere right around there. It's projecting that. You see that? That's what it's projecting. That's what you see as Jupiter. Right? Jupiter's just a projection as well. Sorry, man. Anyways, let me show you that in relationship. I know people like flipping their wigs, literally. People have literally thrown their wigs out the window right now. There's the moon, and you can actually tell kind of with your eye that Jupiter literally sits closer to you within the atmosphere than the fake moon projection even. And then the fake moon projection is once again more yellow. Okay, so I hope all the anger is past. The way that you can tell that Jupiter, this being projected as Jupiter from this projector, you can tell by this is very excited, lots of colors. So I'd be wondering if they're claiming there's a storm going on here. I haven't looked into that. Just a thought. In relationship to that, how you can actually just see with your eye, as I zoom in to the Jupiter projection, how you can see it's actually physically closer to you within the atmosphere. So you're actually, if you're an astronomer, man, you're just quite literally focusing on like a picture. Dude, sorry to bust your bubble. Sorry to bust your bubble, man. That's a flippin'... Sorry to bust your bubble, man. It's right there, man. That's a flippin'... Sorry to bust your bubble, man. That's a flippin'... Sorry to bust your bubble, man. That's a flippin'... It's right there, man. I have a Sony Handycam. I shouldn't be able to see the planets, dude. You can actually physically see with your eyes, man.
It's sitting lower in what I call the thermosphere than at the actual so-called moon projection, which, because it's much bigger, so therefore this would have to be lower so it'd be seen for the whole effing effect to take effect. Now let's go look at the projector so you can see it. Stop clowning around. And all the other so-called planets have them too. You just have to look. So this will be Dave J2, the Jupiter projector.